السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيده. يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. نستغفرك ونتوب إليك، وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيد الأولين والآخرين وعالم السابقين وقائد الغر المحجلين وشفيع المذنبين وسيد ولد آدم أجمعين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله الغر الميامين وأصحابه نجوم الدين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين، وعنا معهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا، وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما وفقهنا إذا علمتنا. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters, I would like, whenever I speak about one of these great people, especially if I am given the knowledge from other resource, to speak about the inner and the outer. And this is very important point, because all of the audience, including myself, we have inner and outer, Nowadays we tend to pretend, wear a masks, on our face, and try to sound and look good, for everyone, by smell, by nice clothes, by color, by whatever you want, But we don't care a lot, about the inner, whereas the inner is going to last forever for us, It's going to be the one is shown to us, in the hereafter, okay? They said, don't ask me how, because I don't know. In this life, you have the physical body shown, and you have the soul included inside it, In the hereafter, it's going to be the opposite way. You are going to have the soul manifested, and then you have the physical body, and nowadays, okay, it's going to be included inside it, That's why our quality is going to be completely different in the hereafter. Some of the people, who has very strong eye, they may be in the hereafter blind or deaf, or you name it. Well, how we are going to speak, sorry, about the inner, of Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik. I don't have specific word, about him, but I would like to look a common talk, toward all of the companion, which was narrated by Sayyidina Abdullah bin Mas'ud. This is in Musnad Imam Ahmad, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala look at the hearts. Perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has billions or more of hearts, that we know of, and He chose these to join His messenger, okay? This high selectivity, of the heart, the selection given from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For me, it means a lot. For sure, I'm not going to be able to speak about all of it, but this is going to make me, feel that I'm not eligible, to speak about Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik, because this great inner, of Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik, besides that he was the servant of the Prophet ﷺ, he was companion, he has some specialties that we may come across them, now. Okay, all of these matters, make me way down, okay. What I'm trying to tell you is my look to, or my view to Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik. That is not the reality of him, radiallahu ta'ala, okay. And that's why I should be, too aware, of this, have a problem there, because to convey the message to your people, it's not going to be the most accurate one, as you may imagine, when you have inferior person speak about someone superior, for sure it's not going to give you, all that is, about it, So I think this is the spoke about the inner, this the only way that I know. From the outer, he was quite lucky because he served the Prophet ﷺ for roughly 10 years, more or less. Okay, he was one of the genius of companion. Okay, he lived long life because of the dua of the Prophet ﷺ to make him one of those who have long life, and he passed away in the 90s. They have some differences between 91, 92 or 93. Roughly, he lived above than 100 years or little bit less, 1 year before 100 years or more of that, because roughly the rough estimate, even though it was narrated that he was 10 years old, when the Prophet ﷺ came to Medina, you have some other narration of 9 or 8. This is the 10 business, I feel this like approximation. Okay, why? Because you have in similar age, Sayyidina Ibn Umar, who was 10 years old, and he was 15 in Ghazwat al-Khandaq, he considered Anas ibn Malik younger than him. Okay, that's why I feel this is approximation. We use it nowadays. It has been used, in the past, that they may approximate, the number, to the decade or to half of decade, 5 or whatever of that regard. So, in my view, I'm going to feel that Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik was younger than 10 years. He was too lucky, to served the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam for 10 years, For sure he is Ansari from Khazraj. You have the Ansar, they have two main subsection, Aus and Khazraj. He was from the Khazraj, okay. Then you have subsection, among the Khazraj, his tribe from Bani Najjar was called by him sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the best subsection, among all Ansar, Bani Najjar. Okay, then you have some subdivision, in this Bani Najjar. You have 4 persons, Banu Adi, which Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik belonged to them, and these are the closest one, in blood-wise, to the grandfather of the Prophet ﷺ, because his grandfather, his mother was from Bani Adi ibn Najjar, okay? Whereas the largest group of the subsection was from Bani Malik of Najjar. You have many of those famous companions, they are from it, like namely Zayd ibn Thabit, Hassan ibn Thabit, Ubay ibn Ka'ab, and many other, companion, when you read about immigration of the Prophet ﷺ, when he introduced himself, from Quba to Medina al-Munawwara, the way he passed through Bani Adi ibn Najjar, who are direct, relative to them, to him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then he resided, in Bani Malik of ibn Najjar, the largest group, among Bani Najjar, and they were quite lucky, for sure, to have the Prophet ﷺ resided in their house. Among them, Sayyidina Abu Ayyub al-Ansari, I think some of your people, they may be familiar with it. So this is about the original matter. When the Prophet ﷺ came to Medina, many of those close people, they tried to give a gift to him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The mother of Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik, she figured out she is poor one, she doesn't have any gift, so she figured out that's going to give her son as a servant, as a gift, to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What a gift! Okay, how lucky was this boy, to serve the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Here, the other side of the story, the Prophet ﷺ, as he was described by him, by Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik, that he never say, why you did not do so, why did you do so? Okay, never say. Yani, in my view, as if the Prophet ﷺ building in this young person, the belief in the predestination. okay? Because if any one of the family member of the Prophet ﷺ try to say why you did not do they will tell him, leave him alone, you know, if this predesignated, you know, by Allah is going to happen, okay? And he tries, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in many of those young or minor people, you know, surrounding him, to make them, you know, aware, you know, about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, learn some aspect, you know, of the pillar of belief, you know, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Besides that, he was of very unique, you know, and great character, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is I may speak about it easily, you know. When it comes to practice, it's not that easy, you know, to have a boy, you know, serving you, you know, and you don't even ask him, you know, about anything. Why did you do so, or you did not do so? Okay, yani when we try to speak about it, it's going to be easy. When we try to practice, it's going to be quite difficult, you know, in that regard, you know. Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik was from a great family. I keep asking myself, you know, his uncle, you know, was described, and his brother was described from the Prophet ﷺ, that among your nation, among your community, some people that whenever they swear to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to fulfill their oath. You have something happen, you know, to his uncle, you know, and this is narrated in Bukhari, that his aunt, you know, of Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik, or the sister of that particular uncle, you know, she hit a woman, you know, and broke her teeth, okay? And they asked for retaliation, you know, and he got angry. Anas ibn Nadr, he said, no, Ya Rasulullah, we are not going to retaliate from so and so, you know, because of this matter, you know. He said, yeah, Anas, this is the instruction given from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when they returned back to those people who were completely determined that we want to retaliate, they don't want money, they don't want anything, you know, they accepted to forgive her, you know, without anything, you know. Why? Because he swore to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this was the comment, you know, from him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inna minkum man aqsama ala Allahi la abarra. So this was the case of Sayyidina Anas ibn Nadr. Bara ibn Malik was well known, you know, to most of the companions, that he is from those people in one of those castles, you know, or citadel, you know. It was too difficult to open it, you know, and they said, oh Bara, make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to let us, you know, to open this castle. What did he say? He said, oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, open this castle for us and take me away to you, you know, because he did not want to be uncovered, you know, and be quite famous, you know, about it. Just have me killed, you know, or take me away, you know, with this. Yani. What I'm trying to say, Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik is not from an ordinary family, is from this great family. To have two members, you know, in that particular family, in this description, you know, for me, this is beyond my limit, beyond my imagination, you know, about it, you know. Then Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik, he has that chance, you know, to be among the family in the house of the Prophet. He was free person, you know. The Prophet ﷺ, you have plenty of people, you know, served him. Some of them, they were slaves, they were freed, you know. When the Prophet ﷺ passed away, he did not have any slave, you know, in his possession, okay. You have some free people, you know, they used to serve him, you know. Most of them, they were young, you know, like Rabi'a ibn Ka'b al-Aslami and the others, you know, and including Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik, one of these people. He was one of the huge narrators, you know, about him, you know. You have 7 companions, they have above 1,000 hadiths narrated from him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Among them was Anas ibn Malik, one of these 7, you know. The number given by him, see, was 2,286. Okay, this is the number of narration given by Sayyidina Anas Malik. I feel that Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik most of his narration, I may be right or wrong, that related to him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he used to live with him. He used to know a lot about his description, a lot about his characters, and you name it, and that's why most of the narration and when you look at Sayyidina Abu Hurairah, you're going to have find different types, of narration as well. Whereas in Anas ibn Malik, most of them, they are related to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, related to his work, to his description, to whatever he done by him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik is one of those resources. What benefit we get from this, I'm going to tell you about this important. The continuity of it, to have a people, group of people in Australia, speaking about Anas ibn Malik. This is in the history, it's impossible to happen, What make it possible for us? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see, when you compare how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this, made the adhan, you go 5 times, per day, you say, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Or Sayyidina Muhammad. Sayyidina Muhammad is a person who passed away, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, which is impossible to have such a person, in the history mentioned, You hardly find some of them, they are mentioned, in positive or negative way. They will be mentioned, in the history or in one story or whatever, to have this large gathering, and have Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik mentioned, I'm going to take it, as very significant part, to make me at least, a word about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you want to be well known in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala standard, you should have this done, for it. We are, inshallah, all of us, all the audience, they will go to heaven, and they are going to have eternally, stay there, eternally. It's impossible, in this life. How come we are going to stay eternally? You have some examples, given to us, in this life, just in indirect way to tell us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the full capacity, the full continuity, of those matters. Example of it. You have Surah Al-Fatiha. I have repeated it, thousands and thousands of times. I'm not get fed up, of it, up till now, If you ask the most famous, Arab writers, if you have committee of them, to write same text, which, why did I say Arab writers? Because this is in Arabic letters, that has been formed, If I ask them, and they brought me a text, similar to Fatiha, and they ask me, to repeat it 20 times, I'll get fed up of it. You got my point? This is indirect message from Allah to tell me about the continuity, Okay? This is one of the great matter, about your Quran, This is one of the great matter. The other matter, as I said, to have such large gathering, to mention Anas ibn Malik in Australia, after hundreds and hundreds of years, by itself, it's unbelievable. This is incredible, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it available, for us, We have the information from Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik. He was quite lucky. I think this is over the history, among the Pakistani, and they used to be called Indian, Muslim, people, they have those holy hair come from him, You see, significant portion of it came through Anas ibn Malik. Why? Because in the Hajjat al-Wada' sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he shaved all of his holy hair, and he divided it by half, and asked Abu Talha, was the husband, not the father, the husband of the mother of Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik. He asked him to distribute half of it, among the people, and he gave the other half completely to him, That's why we narrate, in Bukhari, you have Ibn Sirin, this is student of Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik. One of his teachers is Abid al-Salmani. Okay, this is very junior one, junior successor. He did not meet with the Prophet ﷺ. He was in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. What did Ibn Sirin is intermediate successor, Abida is one of the senior successor. Okay, what did he tell him? He told him, we have some hair of the Prophet ﷺ. We got it from Anas ibn Malik, or family of Anas ibn Malik. Abida, what did he say? The teacher, what did he say? He said, if I have one of them, will be much better for me than the whole life. Okay. Yani here, Sayyidina Anas Malik was quite lucky, one of those blessed hair, he asked to be put, under his tongue, and he was buried, with this great hair of him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And I think this one of the main purposes, they would like us, to speak about Sayyidina Anas Malik, to tell you that in indirect way, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to give much more significance, from his side, whenever anyone loved him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is still applicable up till now, Yani what I'm trying to say, service of Sayyidina Usman, great one, okay? Everything was done to him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But are they equal to have this blessed and holy hair, to put under his tongue, in his grave, You cannot, you cannot tell. Yeah, and it's a great step taken by him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I think this is applicable, to our time and all time, That's why, please build in your children, the love to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because this is the most important thing that you may give them, nowadays, is to build the love and to direct their heart toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, toward His Messenger, and to tell these stories, Those people, these minor, they are quite smart, They are going to take it, for absolute, I'm sorry to tell you, those old people, they take it, this because of this reason, and that reason. Whereas the minor one, they will take it, as a great matter, as absolute matter, And this is what happened to Sayyidina Anas Malik. He was given, this honor from him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as narrated by Tirmidhi, this hadith in Tirmidhi. What did he say, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to him, instructing him? Ya bunayya in qadarta an tusbiha wa tumsi wa laysa fi qalbika ghishun li ahadin faf'al wa alam bi anna dhalika min sunnati wa man ahya sunnati faqad ahabbani wa man ahabbani kana ma'aya fil jannah. Oh my son. See, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam calling this Anas ibn Malik, oh my son. And just imagine, just think about it. If you have the ability to be in the morning and the evening without any negative, ill feeling, against anyone, do it. And be sure that this is part of my tradition. And whoever resurrects my tradition is going to be a real lover of me. And whoever loves me is going to join me in the hereafter. Okay. Why did I bring this as an example? Because I feel, this is personal feeling, I may be right or wrong, I feel that the Muslims, they are in real need of it, Nowadays, I'm sorry to tell you, even in this area, I have heard, that you have different mosques, and different people, and whatever, Here, to have this peaceful heart, this is part of the prophetic tradition. Okay, and whoever resurrects his tradition, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, nowadays, is a real lover of him. And whoever loves him is going to join him in the hereafter. Sayyidina Anas Malik, he did narrate the other hadith, that a person came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asking about the hereafter. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did ask him, what have you prepared for it, He was shocked. He said, I did not prepare. I haven't prepared anything, except that I love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did give him this great answer. What did he say? He said, Al-mar'u ma'a man ahab. Okay, and Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik, what did he say? What was his comment, about this narration? He said, I love the messenger, I love Abu Bakr, I love Umar, so I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to join me with them, even though I haven't done, anything, which is similar to their work, So here, this is a very important point, especially for the younger, build the love, of your assets, this is my assets and yours, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the messengers, those great people, these are our assets, What did happen to him, Sayyidina Anas Malik? He had something physical and he has something spiritual. The physical one, his mother one day, she came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she said, this is your servant, Ya Rasul, make dua for him. And he make dua, that he may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him, a long life, give him a plenty of children, and to end, in the heaven, after it, Sayyidina Anas Malik did face in this life, the long life, and plenty of children. And he said, I hope about the third one, This is the physical, dua or supplication from him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What was the spiritual one, which is, I don't know, this is unbelievable for me, He lived a long time, after him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, more than 80 years, or let's say 80 years, every night he see the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the dream. This is was mentioned by Tabaqat ibn Sa'ad. He started crying, he said, I see the Prophet every night. When you look at this, I think Sayyidina Anas Malik has done, something great, in his life, But you see, the Prophet ﷺ did respond to him with much more greater, matter, spiritually and physically, He lived long life. His farm used to have the fruits, twice per year, whereas all farms besides him, going to give a fruit once a year, as we know, okay? And very nice smell, of it, like musk, from the smell, of his fruits, and he said, I hope about the third one, to be in the heaven, because the Prophet ﷺ make dua for him, about it. Then you have this continuity, of seeing the Prophet ﷺ. Yani he lived a life, he was attached to him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why I look at him as a very lucky person. And not all companions, they were the same, You have some companions, they may meet with him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for 1 hour or 2 hours. This lucky boy, he just spent most of his life with him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After the death of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what did happen? Continuously, every night he's going to dream about him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he is the one, who narrated this hadith for us, that on the day of the death of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was quite sick, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he has some improvement, in the morning when the prayer was led, by Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, in Fajr time, okay, and he lifted up, the curtain, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a window, in his holy room, to the mosque. This is narrated in Bukhari, and you have wadah. What's the meaning of wadah? Those among your people who pray, Fajr in very early time, is going to be complete darkness. There's no power, no lights, at that particular time. When the Prophet ﷺ lifted up the curtain, everything was obvious to them, because of the illumination of him, ﷺ. All of these matters, when you speak, I speak about them, but my speech, my talk about them is much less, than the reality, okay? Yani, I may fly, on my ideas, I may imagine, about it, and it's going to be much less, than the reality of it. Yeah. All of those matters, or if you want to mention them, as experience, they happen to Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik. In my view, he gained a lot, in this life, because he built the bridges with him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was much more generous, and he responded to him. Are we the same? Yes, I think so, Whenever you try to show some feeling, that you are close to him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you are going to have much more response from him. That's why I would like to bring this story, There is a companion called Abdullah al-Bijadain, was teenager, when the Prophet ﷺ migrated from Mecca to Medina, and he passed through his tribe, This person was orphan and was raised up, in the house of his uncle, His uncle was quite nice to him. He provided him with everything, clothes, food, and you name it, When he heard that uncle, when he heard that he want to join the Prophet ﷺ, he took away everything, Even his clothes, He became naked, without clothes, He took everything from him, And his mother cut bijad, I don't know exactly what the meaning, but I feel this is not weird, by anyone, And she cut it, for him, by twice, and make it, some clothes for him. He joined the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ did observe the need of that teenager, right away. What did he tell him? Ilzam babi, be next to my gate. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ is going to have all of those gifts, and food, and you name it, just to provide this teenager, So, I think he was perfect, in sticking himself, to the gate of the Prophet ﷺ. But what's about the Prophet, we read in Ghazwat Tabuk, this is in year 9, Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Mas'ud woke up, complete darkness. There's a light, from the distance, He went to that particular light. There is a hole or a grave, The Prophet ﷺ was inside the grave, okay? Sayyidina Abu Bakr wa Umar, they were up, and they have a body holding it, and the Prophet ﷺ, give me your brother. Okay. This was Abdullah al-Bijadain. The Prophet ﷺ did join him till he put him in his hole, or in this grave, This is, I brought this story just to tell you, He did instruct him, Ilzam Babi, but he joined him, all the time till he put him in his grave, This Abdullah al-Bijadain, okay. So here, those people, those great people, to be honest with you, I feel myself, not eligible to speak about them because they are much higher than me, okay? This story, I come to know about it, recently, recently I came to know about it, I'm going to share it with your people, Sayyidah Safiya, this is the wife of the Prophet ﷺ. When she was about to die, she make a will, to give 1,000 dinar to Sayyidah Aisha, another wife. 1,000 dinar is more than 4 kilograms of gold nowadays, okay? Then, after her death, her nephew, who was Jewish, he converted to Islam just to inherit her, And they told him, sorry, you don't have any inheritance because you converted, after her death, Sayyidah Aisha, what did she do? She said, give him those 1,000 dinar. Oh my God, many audience, or many persons, they will feel this is cheating, just became Muslim, for the money, or for the gold, will not give him anything, At most, they may give him, 5 or 10 dinars, To give him everything, from whom? From a woman that she spent her life, she did not fill her stomach, when she was with the Prophet ﷺ with food, So she was in real need when, do you have anything about insurance, or about this? This was their insurance, this woman, this great woman, she gave all more than 4 kilograms, of gold. It was given, to that person who converted to Islam, after the death of Sayyidah Safiya. When I hear this story, to be honest with you, inshallah, I'm not exaggerating. Their sandal is not off on my head, it's way above my head. This was my feeling, Then I heard the story I read the story, about the Prophet ﷺ, which is much more amazing. Some of your people, they are familiar, in Uhud battle, they hurted him badly, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You have massive killing, his uncle Hamza was killed, and many of the companions, they were killed. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam make dua against them, against the Qurayshi people, the Meccan people, and they have hard time. What did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam do? He collected, from Medina. I cannot imagine, I cannot understand from where did he collect them. He collected 500 dinar, which is more than 2 kilograms, of gold, and sent it to Mecca. Who? The one who fights against them, and they are his enemy, and you name it, he sent more than 2 kilograms, of gold, to them to have it distributed, on the poor people, in Mecca. And he assigned 2 persons, of those leaders, his enemies, to distribute this money. One accepted and the other one refused. Here, when you speak, you are speaking about different level, This is not our level, This is not for us, not the way the humankind they are going to behave. And that's why I'm not going to give you longer time, Inshallah, I'm going to stop here, and if there is any question, feel free to ask me.
Sayyidi, there's a request, inshallah. Let the brother ask.
فضيلة الشيخ هل تشوقنا إلى القرآن? Is it possible to read some Quran for us, please?
Okay. I don't want any. Feel free if someone has something to go or to do something, inshallah. But I'm going to recite some Quran, inshallah. Bismillah, by help of Allah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هو الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا محمد رسول الله والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم تراهم ركعا سجدا يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوانا سيماهم في وجوههم من أثر السجود ذلك مثلهم في التوراة ومثلهم في الإنجيل كزرع أخرج شطأه فآزره فاستغلظ فاستوى على سوقه يعجب الزراع ليغيظ بهم الكفار وعد الله الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات منهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما آمنت بالله صدق الله العظيم إلى شرف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. الفاتحة.